Sometimes we learn what not to do, sometimes we learn what to do from our people in authority and leaders in our life. Who would you say was the biggest positive influence in your leadership development journey?
The biggest, I have a tough time with the biggest, but one keeps popping up in my head. And it's a good story. A leader who I reached out to, I would say about 20 years ago, maybe a little less than that. Jim Chambers is his name, Dr. Jim Chambers. I had, again, was working through, God, what do you want to do with me? What's my path? And it kept occurring to me, again, this is spirit-led, that my path was to be a minister to leaders, a leader of leaders in that way. And I really couldn't identify anyone who I thought was doing this kind of work. But it turns out, as I searched, I found Dr. Jim Chambers, who at the time was leading the Institute for Organizational Leadership. And I reached out to him. It's a long story, I'm going to make it very short. I reached out to him at a time where he couldn't reach back because he was hospitalized after a terrible auto accident. So he couldn't reach back to me at all. And I was a little discouraged until his wife called me. And she goes, Brian, here's why you haven't heard from Dr. Jim. And she tells me the story.
Laid up in the hospital.
Yeah, he's been hospitalized in an experience that left him literally dead on the operating table. So I thought, okay, that's a good reason that he couldn't reach back to me. But she said, I promise. Lynette said, I promise that when Jim is able to, he will reach out to you. And I was patient, and he did. And he taught me all about why it is that he was called to this as well. And he shared so much with me. He taught me how to do ministry-based strategic planning, which was a framework that he developed, and basically handed me the manual and the mantle and said, Brian, I think you can do this work. I think you're called to do this. And I think the experiences that you went through were the crucible that formed you in this way. So he affirmed that I was going down the right path, and just his life story also was part of that affirmation.
Yeah, if everybody's life was supposed to be easy, there wouldn't be a Joseph in the Old Testament. You know what I mean? Like that guy, his journey was amazing and so convoluted, up and down, and all the adversity. And it's very encouraging to look into his life and lives like yours and go, hey, this journey to be where we're supposed to be might not always be easy, but hang on.